This is an unbelievable story of a man who bankrupted Britain's oldest merchant bank. Imagine going to work on a Monday morning and by Friday you've destroyed a bank that has survived wars, economic crashes, and revolutions. Not because you were hacked, not because terrorists attacked, not because of global financial crisis, but because of just one employee. It was the year 1995 and the name of this bank was Barings Bank. So if you lived in Britain, you know that Barings Bank wasn't just another bank. This bank was founded in the year 1762. This bank already existed before the United States became an independent country. This is a bank that has survived the Napoleonic Wars, it has survived the World War I, World War II, and even survived countless financial crises. So the British royal family trusted the bank with their money. For 2 centuries, Barings had built a reputation as one of the safest financial institutions in the world, and no one ever imagined that to disappear, especially not because of one 28-year-old trader who's miles away in Singapore. His name was Nick Leeson. When Nick joined Barings, he wasn't considered a genius. He wasn't Oxford educated, he wasn't from a wealthy family. He started working at the bank's back office, processing trades and learning how settlements worked. Eventually, Barings sent him to Singapore to build its future trade business, and this was a huge opportunity for Nick. But it became one with dangerous flaw. Nick was put in charge of the trading desk and the back office was supposed to monitor him. In banking, it's like allowing a student to write an exam and then grade their own paper. The separation of duties, the basic principles of risk management had been broken. At first, Nick performed very well. He made profits, his bosses in London were thrilled, they praised him, they even gave him more freedom. They gave him more capital, they gave him more trust. Then one day, a small mistake happened. A junior employee made an error that resulted in trading loss. Instead of reporting it immediately, Nick hid the loss. He moved it into a secret account. The account had an unusual number, and the number is 888888. Inside the bank, it became known as the error account. The plan was simple. He would make enough money to cover the loss and no one would ever know. You know, very easy plan. But the markets don't care about your plan. To recover the hidden loss, Nick started taking bigger trades. Some worked, some didn't. And when they failed, he increased the size again. Every new loss required even a more bigger gamble. Soon, the account wasn't hiding thousands of dollars, it was hiding millions of dollars. But yet, Nick was sending glowing reports back to London. The bank believed its Singapore office was making spectacular profits. His manager celebrated him as one of the bank's brightest stars. They awarded him bonuses. They trusted him even more. And no one realized that the profits reported were largely fictional. The real losses were buried inside accounts 88888. Then came January 1995. A devastating earthquake had just struck Kobe, Japan. Financial markets became extremely volatile. Nick had placed enormous bets and believed that the Japanese stock markets would remain stable. Instead, the market plunged. His losses exploded overnight. At that moment, he still had one chance. He could tell the truth. He could admit the losses. The bank would suffer, but it might survive. Instead, he doubled down. He doubled down again, and this time he was no longer trying to make money. He was trying to hide the truth. Every day, the losses grew larger and hundreds of millions of dollars disappeared. Eventually, Nick had accumulated losses of approximately £827 million. And at the time, that was more money than Barings Bank itself was worth. So the bank couldn't absorb the losses. It was bankrupt. On February 26, 1995, after 233 years in history, Barings Bank collapsed. It was sold to another bank for a symbolic price of £1. Imagine that, a financial bank trusted for more than 2 centuries. Sold for less than the price of a cup of coffee. Nick Leeson fled Singapore, and for several days, authorities didn't know where he was. His face appeared on televisions around the world, and eventually, he was arrested in Germany while trying to travel through Frankfurt. He was extradited to Singapore, where he pleaded guilty to charges related to fraud and deception, and he was sentenced to prison. The collapse of Barings Bank changed banking forever. Around the world, financial institutions strengthened internal controls. They made sure traders could no longer supervise themselves. Risk departments gained more authority. Banks invested heavily in systems that could detect positions before they became catastrophic. But perhaps the biggest lesson wasn't about banking, it was about human nature. Nick Leeson didn't wake up one morning intending to destroy an institution that is 233 years old. It started with one mistake then one lie to cover that mistake. Then another and another until the lies became too big to hide. Sometimes the most dangerous trade isn't the first one. It's the one you place because you're trying to erase the last mistake. Follow me for more stories that proves reality is often stranger than fiction. My name is Mamuz and I tell real Forex stories.